Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Tim Sylvia to defeat Fedor Emelianenko. And I'm here to talk about Kyle Nelson versus Bill Algeo. Bill Algeo is 18 and 7 as a pro, 34 years old, and he's got 1 inch of height and 2 inches of reach over 32-year-old Nelson, who is 15, 5, and 1. Kyle Nelson is a guy that has gained my respect in the last year with his 2 victories. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. I now consider him a UFC caliber fighter, whereas before, even though he had won by TKO over Marco Polo Reyes, he was a guy that I thought was destined to be cut pretty soon. But he's really impressed me, and he's done so by maintaining that same speed disadvantage in every fight. He's always a slower fighter, but his strikes tend to mean more. He's got some excellent timing and some chopping leg kicks as well as deceptive power in his hands. He's a really neutralizing fighter, he's a striker and a grappler. And he's a guy that can give up the numbers and still be ahead. But here he's fighting a guy in Bill Algeo who isn't just about numbers. He's about angles and all kinds of weird shit. Bill Algeo is one of those funky fighters. He will switch stances and have more of a lunging type of attack, and he's very rough on the inside as well. I mean, he will rough you up, and he does use his size on the inside, even though he uses it in like a Muay Thai sense. Physically, he's at a disadvantage on the inside. Bill Algeo, just like Kyle Nelson being at a speed disadvantage in most fights, Bill Algeo's at a physicality disadvantage in most fights. In tight, he's usually the weaker man. Not that he's like fucking mentally weak. He's certainly not that, but he's the guy that is usually giving up strength. But on the flip side, as is usually the case, he's got cardio. He's not feeding all these muscles and having to worry about round three. His opponent's always the one that has to worry about round three and round two, especially, I should say, because Bill Algeo has 11 finishes and 8 of them come in round two, which is exceptional. The overwhelming majority should come in round one for just about anybody, especially somebody that's had the majority of his career on the regional scene. But Bill Algeo is just a guy that's always gotten it done in round two. And it's because he's not the most imposing athlete. But again, he's got excellent cardio. And cardio's been a thing that I've worried about with Kyle Nelson because he's been finished 3 times, once in round two and twice in round three. The thing is, they were all in the UFC and all to good fighters. Well, Matt Sales got him out of there with an arm triangle in round three. He's a very good grappler. And he was knocked out by Carlos Diego Fajeda in round two and Billy Quarantillo in round three. And Billy Quarantillo, much like Bill Algeo, is a round three fighter. So this is an interesting matchup. I do think Kyle Nelson can try to slow things down, but Bill Algeo, he's the gas tank guy. He's going to try to speed things up and remind Kyle Nelson what it's like to be in a grueling fight against a guy with an insane gas tank deep into the fight. So my prediction, because you're going to force me to give you one here.
Don't give me this on the one hand and on the other hand.
All right.
Just say, this is the way I think it's gonna be, because this several hands fucking shit don't help me, huh?
I'll boil things down.
I'm going with Bill Algeo. I'm going with Bill Algeo winning by decision. That would be my pick here. I think Bill Algeo wins by decision. I think Kyle Nelson has a bit of success, and Bill Algeo is just able to out-hustle him in general in the end. But I'm not betting on Bill Algeo's money line. I'm not betting on Kyle Nelson's money line. I'm just going to throw a few sprinkles on Bill Algeo winning in rounds 2 and 3. Hopefully they're somewhat long odds because the odds here are somewhat tight. He's a 2-1 favorite. And generally there are longer odds for rounds 2 and 3. But I think this is a fight where Bill Algeo could be in Kyle Nelson's face, and these guys have a grueling fight, and Bill Algeo gets that late finish. So those will be the only plays once the props open, unless, of course, they're onto that and the props suck. They're at shit odds. But in general here, I'm staying away from this and picking Bill Algeo to win. So like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.